Getting crispy vocals in 2025. Hi, my name is Mr. Vibe. Getting crispy vocals in 2025 requires a combination of proper recording techniques, processing, and mixing. Here are some tips to getting a good vocals. First, quality recording. Start with a high quality recording using a good microphone, preamp, and interface. Consider using a condenser microphone, like I did in this tutorial. I used Rode NT2A. Proper gain staging. Make sure to set the gain levels correctly to avoid distortion and noise. Aim for an optimal signal to noise ratio. And remember to use a pop filter when you're recording. A pop filter can help reduce plosive sounds and prevent distortion. Now let's go straight to our DAW. Now let's listen to the vocals without any processing done on it. Listen.
You go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me, but I can take it easy on you.
Okay, that's the vocal without any processing. Now, the first thing I added to this was autotune, that is a pitch correction plugin. This autotune aims at ensuring that the vocal stays with the key of the song. If you can see here, I'm using a return speed of 27 and the key is in E major. The reason why I'm not setting the return speed all the way to 0, because when I set the return speed to 0, the vocals would sound robotic and I don't want that for these vocals. So let's listen to the vocals while the return speed is at 0. Listen.
Energy can never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
As you can see, setting the return speed to 0 makes it sound robotic. So that's why I put it close to 30 or 27.
Spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh.
So that's that. And for the humanize, the main reason why this is to allow any vibrato, natural singing form of the human sound, just to make it not sound too robotic. That's why it's set at 45. Now, the next thing on the chain is NLS channel. And this is done to add some kind of analog saturation to the vocals. Listen.
Energy can never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
If I increase the drive all the way up to 12, it sounds too distorted. Listen.
Energy can never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh.
So I'm going to set it to taste. Listen.
Energy can never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
So this is just like a preamp adding saturation to the vocals. Now the next thing I did was to use a FabFilter, that is an EQ. Now this EQ is to roll off anything below the lows and also to tame the low frequency. Listen. And also using it to take out some frequency that are not needed. Now, when it comes to this region, I'm actually using the EQ to tame this frequency. I'm not actually taking everything out, but when it becomes too excessive, I remove them using the dynamic processing that comes with this FabFilter Pro-Q3. Listen and watch.
Energy can never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
So the next thing I added was a DeEsser. The purpose of this DeEsser is to remove those harsh frequencies. It helps to reduce excessive sibilance, such as the harsh S sound and the T sounds. So let's listen without the DeEsser first.
Spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love if you spend one day with me. Must if you spend one day with
Now let's turn on the DeEsser and let's see if that particular region is tamed. Listen.
must if you spend one day with me. See,
As you can hear, it's actually used to tame the frequencies so that the S sound, the T sound doesn't become too aggressive, because this can cause pain frequencies in the ear. So the DeEsser was actually used to tame such frequencies. Now let's listen to the DeEsser again.
must if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
Now the next thing I added was a noise suppressor. And what did I use for this? I actually used the NS1 from Wave. This is a noise suppressor. It helps to remove the noise, like the background noise, so that everything sounds so clean and audible. Now let's listen.
Must if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
So this actually helps to remove some background noise. Now, if you can hear the background noise, you can go to the silent part of the song, like this part, the beginning section of the song. From here, we can actually hear the noise suppressor at work. Now, without the noise suppressor, listen to how it sounds. Let's engage it and let's see what it's actually doing to the song, removing the background noise. As you can see, when you use it too much, it takes life away from the recording. Listen.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find.
So I don't want that for the vocal, so I set it at 20. So now the next thing on the chain is another DeEsser. This is just to ensure that the work on the first DeEsser isn't too much. So the second one helps to tame the vocals even more. Listen.
See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find.
So that is what I actually use the second DeEsser to do, to tame the harsh frequencies even more. Now that all the unnecessary frequencies have been removed, the next thing I did was to add a compressor to compress the vocals to even it out. And I use CLA76, the black version. So I use a settings of 4 ratio and attack and release to about 2, attack to about 7. This is just to tame the peaks. Listen.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me. You go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
As you can see, we are having a gain reduction from about 0 down to -3. This is not actually compressing the vocals that much, just to tame the peaks so that the vocals doesn't sound too compressed. Now let's go to the next plugin in chain. Now I'm using another EQ. This EQ, remember the first EQ was to remove unwanted frequencies, but this EQ is just like to add and boost the most important fundamental frequency of the vocals, and this one gave it more life because I'm actually increasing the high frequencies and taming out some parts, boosting around 1.5k, you know, and taming the other part. Let's listen to this EQ and see what it sounds like.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
Now without it, listen.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh.
Wait.
You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
You can see that it actually removed the boominess from the vocals, because after adding your compressor, the compressor brings out more unwanted frequency that were not heard before. So the second EQ was to tame that down. And that was why I used a dynamic processor around 343 Hz to tame the frequency that were becoming too much, the boomy frequency. Listen.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
So after that was done, I added this plugin. This plugin looks very complicated at first, but when you take your time to study this, it's very, very understandable to use. Okay, if we were to use a normal EQ to explain this, let's do that with this one. I'm going to set it to default so it becomes clean. Now, let's replicate what we are actually using this EQ to do. Now, we're using it like this. We boost around, 12 or boost around 10 to 12 region, and the presence is more like boosting 1.5K, like I did with the other processor, like this. Yes. Then the low frequency is just like using a low pass filter like this for the vocals. So this is just like the shape of what I did. And this is around 300. So imagine setting this to like 300 Hz. This is just exactly what this plugin is actually doing with this. This is just like identical, boosting the high frequency to around how many? 1. Yes, 1, like this, 1 hertz. So, but the reason why I'm not using FabFilter for this is because I like the analog warmth these adds to the vocals. I actually use it because of this EQ region here. This is why I'm using it. So let's go straight and listen to how it sounds like with and without it. First of all, without.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
Now, let's use it with it.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
So, wait again.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh.
Without.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then
you can notice when I remove it, the vocal lose presence. When I add it back, there's kind of warmth and presence to the vocal. To add more plugins, I routed the vocal to a new channel insert where I added more processing. And this time around, I'm using C6. Let's turn off this part. I'm using the C6. Now, the C6 is just like a compressor, a multiband compressor to say. So I'm using this as an EQ, like a dynamic EQ. The first thing I did was to control the lower frequency from around 100 Hz and below. Listen. So I'm using this part to like control the low frequency dynamically for the vocals. I use it to also tame around 295, this region. Listen.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh.
So all this thing I was doing was just to tame the vocals so it can sit properly with the instrumental. Now let's listen to the C6 without.
You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
Now, wait.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
Now we go straight to the next one. I've been boosting frequencies, boosting the high frequencies, The reason I'm using this EQ is to control the harshness around 5 to 6K. It's more like using it like a DeEsser. Listen.
Never be matched if you spend.
So this is what I'm taking out.
Never.
You can hear how problematic this region is. So that was what I took out dynamically with this EQ. So the next thing I added was L2. The reason why I'm using the L2 is to make sure that the vocal sits directly in its pocket, I'm putting it in a certain pocket around the beats to like tame the vocals, cut off peaks so that the vocals can sit directly on the instrumental. Now let's listen with the L2 in line.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
To tame around -1 dB, just to catch those extra peaks that the compressor did not catch. So it could actually sit properly with the instrumental. So that is what I use for my vocal chain. So let's listen to the vocal chain with all the processing and without the processing. First of all, without the processing. Let's listen.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
So now with the processing, listen.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
Again, without.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me.
With.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See,
you can see how crisp the vocal sounds and in your face. Next thing I did was to add a reverb to the vocal. And what did I do? I used a DeEsser to control the S sound, that comes in before hitting the reverb. This helps you to get a clean vocal that doesn't sound too harsh. Now, and after that, what I did was I rolled off some lower frequency, to remove the rumbles from the vocals. Let's listen to the reverb and see how it sounds.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
So let's remove the EQ and let's listen to how it sounds with the EQ. You'll see it becomes too rumble.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh.
So much lows that I don't need because it wasn't making the vocal sit well with the instrumental. So with and without the EQ, listen.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
You can see that the reverb sounds so clean with the EQ. So try to always use EQ to roll off lower frequency of your reverb. The Valhalla Vintage Verb actually has an EQ, but sometimes I use this EQ and at the same time, it's always good to use the EQ to get a much cleaner sound. So the next thing I added was a delay. And what delay am I actually using? I'm using the H delay from Waves. Also, first thing I did was to roll off the lower frequency. In the reverb I was using the DeEsser to remove the harsh frequency, but this one I was using the EQ to remove the lower frequency before hitting the delay. Now let's listen to that and see how it sounds.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
Now I'm also using this compressor. So I'm using this compressor as a side chain to the main vocal. So whenever the vocal sings, the delay ducks down a little, but whenever the vocal's not saying anything, the delay comes up. Let's watch, listen.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
So without the compressor, you would notice that the vocals, the delays were all over the place. Listen.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me.
So with the compressor, look how smooth the delay sounds.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
So this helps to push the delay to the back. So whenever the vocal sings, the delay goes to the back. Whenever the vocal stops, the delay moves forward and in your face. So the next thing you can actually do to your vocals to make it sound upfront and in your face is to use a parallel compression. So in this tutorial, I'm going to be using the Waves CLA76. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to route my main vocals to that particular track, which is this one. So, and I'm going to bring it down to the list because I would like to add it to taste. So let's get it to the fastest attack and fastest release. Set it to the highest ratio, to make it sound the best. When you're dealing with the parallel compression, set it to the highest ratio. In this case, I can choose to use 20. I can choose to use the all button. The all button means at the highest.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me.
I'm doing it to get a reduction of about minus 20 dB. So when that is gotten, I blend this parallel compression to taste. Let's watch how upfront the vocal sounds. Listen.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
Without.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me.
Wait again.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, never be matched if you spend one day with me. Never be matched if you spend one day with me.
So you can see that the vocal sounds upfront. Now, another trick you can do is to add a limiter to it, just to make sure that the peaks of the parallel compression is not being too forward. Listen.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
Without.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
Now, another thing I usually do is add a saturation, like FabFilter Saturn, also to the vocals. This can also help give it that natural, give the vocal some kind of saturation, analog sound. And most of the time, I use the tape clean, this one. Then I put the drive up to this. Then what do? I route my main vocal to that bus also. Then I blend to taste. Listen.
Never be matched if you spend one day with me. See, you go fall in love, oh. You go fall in love, oh. So then now you go come to find me. Your body no go fit deny me.
You can see it also adds some kind of warmth to the vocal. And that's how you get a crispy vocals in FL Studio 2024. Thank you for watching the tutorial. My name remains Mr. Vibe. See you in another YouTube tutorial.